So today is day 2 of my 90 videos in 90 days program leading up to Election Day against Tim Walberg. What I want to talk about today is Mitt Romney's choice for his vice presidential running mate, Paul Ryan. I thought it was an interesting pick, and frankly, I'm thrilled with the pick. I was expecting Mitt Romney to pick someone with more ties to the evangelical community and therefore fire up Tim Walberg's base in his run against me. Of course, he didn't do that with the pick of Paul Ryan. The Paul Ryan pick, in my opinion, is nothing more than Mitt Romney picking someone that is similar to himself. I think he would have done much more help to his campaign picking someone that could bring him voters that he's not attracting right now. So I think that's great for myself. I think it actually helps the Obama campaign quite a bit, and of course if the Obama campaign is being helped, so is my campaign. I think what this is going to do is it's going to fire up Obama's base, who are going to take a look at this Ryan budget and say, boy, I need to get out there and vote, or I'm going to lose all of these things that will be cut in the Ryan budget. So to me, this is an early Christmas gift, and if I had to pick someone myself who I would like to have seen as Mitt Romney's running mate, I would have picked Paul Ryan. So to me, this is the best choice possible for me. I was planning on picking apart Tim Walberg's support of the Paul Ryan budget anyway. He's continually supported it, but not only does this pick help Obama's race, but it's going to bring the Ryan budget to the forefront, where I won't have to continually explain to voters what it is. They're going to know what the Ryan budget is. It's going to be blasted all over the media for the next 3 months, and all I'll need to do is say, look, my opponent Tim Walberg is a Ryan clone, and he continually votes in support of the Ryan budget. So again, to me this is great. But for those that aren't familiar with the Ryan budget, I'm going to point out a few of the things in it here so you can become a little more familiar with it. It's a very extreme right-wing budget that helps the extremely wealthy at the expense of the poor and the middle class. So here are a few things in the Ryan budget. By the way, this budget has already been to the House, been voted on and passed by the House. However, it was shot down in the Senate. So here are a few things from the Ryan budget. It ends Medicare as we know it, and this will cost seniors approximately $6,400 each per year. Just that portion. It also cuts Medicaid benefits for the poor. It cuts food stamps for the poor. It cuts the Meals on Wheels program for the elderly. And, it wouldn't be complete without cuts for younger people, too. So it cuts Pell Grants to college kids, too. How wonderful that is. What's not cut? Well, the Department of Defense. Apparently, that's not important enough and bloated enough to have any cuts there. Apparently, Mr. Ryan and Mr. Walberg feel that continuing wars for years with no benefit, would be a better investment of the taxpayers' money than some of these programs that benefit the middle class and poor during a recession that puts food on their table. So, it's more important to drop bombs on people in the Middle East than to have these programs, apparently. In the original Ryan budget, there were also cuts to Social Security. Now, that has been taken out of the most recent budget proposal by Mr. Ryan, but Mr. Ryan and Mr. Walberg have both indicated that they're in support of cutting Social Security and privatizing it. So I am sure that if you see Mr. Romney and Ryan and Mr. Walberg in office, that at some point in the future they will push this agenda to cut Social Security again. They've all indicated that they want to do so. One thing that is not cut in the Ryan budget, interestingly enough, are taxes for poor people. They're not cut, they're in fact raised. If you make $20,000 or less, the Ryan budget raises your taxes. But if we look at people earning $1 million a year or more, they receive a massive tax cut under the Ryan budget. Yes, I am not kidding. This budget is that ridiculous. It really is. And of course, if Mr. Ryan and Mr. Wahlberg were really serious about balancing the budget, I have to ask, where in this budget is the provision that revokes the charter of the Federal Reserve Bank? Because I'm not seeing it, and to me, they're smack in the middle of this financial crisis we're in. Their poor handling of the economy, interest rates, and money flow is directly responsible for the financial crisis we're in. Where is the revocation of the charter for the Federal Reserve Bank in this budget? I don't see it. And that, to me, it tells me that Mr. Ryan and Mr. Wahlberg are not, in fact, wanting to help the economy. They're wanting to help the ultra-wealthy at the expense of the middle class. Also lacking from this budget, again, if Mr. Ryan and Mr. Wahlberg are serious about helping the economy, they would put in this budget or in a separate bill or advocate in some way for more regulation of the financial industry, for criminal prosecution of the bankers that have been deeply involved in this financial crisis. But there's none of that here. So what are we to expect when the large banks continue to act fraudulently at the expense of the American taxpayer, which a couple of years ago required a massive bailout of the too big to fail banks? But again, there's nothing here in this budget that deals with that at all in any way. Both Mr. Ryan and Mr. Wahlberg apparently are content with slaps on the wrist for the bankers at the too big to fail banks for their fraudulent and criminal activities, which directly related to the current financial crisis that we're in. Let me ask, where's the deterrent here for future criminal activity by these bankers if they're just getting slapped on the wrist and a small fine? And the answer is there is none. I think we can get a clear picture of what's going on here when we look at who's contributing to the campaigns of Mr. Ryan and Mr. Wahlberg. And I see, if you take a look like I have, you'll see that many of their contributors are in fact Wall Street and banking institutions. So we can see where their priorities lie here. Perhaps Mr. Wahlberg and Mr. Ryan could learn something if they read this book, a favorite of mine, Creature from Jekyll Island. Maybe they could actually learn something about banking and how the money system works in the United States. Or worse, perhaps they already did look at that book. I don't even want to think of that. I like to think they're acting more on ignorance than based on something else, but I don't know at this point. This Ryan budget will be the battleground in my election campaign against Mr. Wahlberg this fall. It will be one of my priorities in attacking Mr. Wahlberg because it's very apparent when you look at this budget and Mr. Wahlberg's support of it where his priorities lie. And in this district, District 7 in Michigan, we do not have a lot of wealthy people here in this district. This is a district that is overwhelmingly middle class, and frankly I would be shocked why anyone would support Mr. Wahlberg when he takes such a position in regards to the budget, which hurts so many people at the expense of tax breaks for the wealthy, increased defense spending and the like. So this battle this fall between myself and Mr. Wahlberg is a battle of the large banks, Wall Street, and the ultra wealthy versus the middle class. And of course, a vote for me is a vote for the middle class. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for video number 3. Thank you.